Okay, so hold on. Let me get my glasses here. Let me get my glasses and then I'll feel complete. And then I'll look complete too. There they are. I'm right here. Okay, so here, that's better. Sorry about my greasy hair. Anyways, I just wanted to talk to the community about what I view, 25 years ago, okay? Because 25 years ago, I was only a kid, I was not a teenager, I was only a kid. And the Columbine shooting was never on the news. It might have been, but I just don't remember. But I just wanted to let you know that 25 years ago, people that were bullied or that they didn't take it as seriously. I mean, like, I remember when I was a kid and I used to get picked on by a few boys at school, few young guys in school. I think that there was like maybe 2 or 3 of them. And I remember always being terrified of going out to recess because as soon as I would get out there, they would find me and then they would run at me, call me four eyes and that. And I do believe that they tried to physically beat me up. But I would always run to my sister and then she would scare them off. She would tell them off if she ever caught them, and she had. But I remember going to the office and under my sister's care, and they didn't do much about it because 25 years ago, I don't think they took bullying that seriously. Not back 25 years ago, I mean, there was a point in time where if a child was being picked on or something, then it should be up to their parents, to deal with it, I guess. And and I don't think there's anybody who hasn't been bullied or hasn't been beaten up at some point. And I do remember watching a series of the Columbine shooter, and I also remember, I believe his name was Dylan, one of them. But I think the other guy that he always used to hang out with, I think he was the mastermind, and I think from the looks of it, Dylan was very depressed, and that guy used Dylan to do that kind of thing. And because when you're in depression state of mind, when you're so depressed, you don't think properly, you don't think rationally, you know? And you do things that are stupid, you know? But I remember his mom. She didn't see the signs either. Because I don't think 25 years ago people knew about the damage it does when you're being picked on. Because I don't remember my mom ever calling the police. Even when my EA used to like be rough with me, you know, my mom didn't even call the police then. But let me tell you, 25 years ago, spanking was legal. People used to spank their children 25 years ago. Right? And so, not too many people were bullies back then, and I guess that's why bullying never got taken very seriously, because it was just very, very, very rare. Because the punishments were so harsh back then, I guess people were afraid to be bullies. And so, but I'm not saying that the punishments back then they used were okay, but sometimes you ended up teaching somebody or scaring somebody and not to being mean and nasty. Sometimes that's not a good thing, right? You don't want your kids to be mean and nasty, but you don't want them to be afraid to speak their minds. You don't want them to be afraid to like, and I think that's why 25 years ago, you know, parents didn't, you know, they knew that their people were changing, but they didn't know the extent of what it was from. They just probably thought it was a teenage phase or something, or a kid going into a teenagerhood, you know? Because, you know, lots of teenagers change when they go through puberty. And like men, when they get hair underneath their chest and their armpits, and yeah, sometimes teenagers do act unruly and some of them probably have developed personality changes because of puberty. So it wasn't really like a real big concern, I guess, to parents. So I really don't think the parents are to blame. I really still don't think that, even in 2024, because yes, you want to be aware of what your kids are doing, but you also don't want to be nosy Parker and, you know, when your children are out of school or something, just pop into their bedroom and then look inside their journal or something. Peek on their social media, you know? That's invading their privacy. And most parents do not want to do that. Right? So it was... So I still don't blame the parents for somebody's inappropriate behavior at all, even in 2024, but 25 years ago, it probably was like 2004 by now. 25 years ago. In 2004, I was only a little kid. And bullying wasn't a big deal back then because I guess, well, not only was the bullying different, I guess. I mean, like, they still beat you up, but the things they said were different. You know, like, I used to get called Four Eyes and that kind of stuff. I guess I used to get called names, but it wasn't like, majority of them are not like it is now. Like, now the bullying's gone so bad with the language and everything. Like, So, whenever I was manhandled, or I wouldn't say manhandled, but I would say kind of manhandled, I guess. Because I guess my EA was kind of rough on me too, whenever I acted out. Even my EA, the person who's supposed to help me, was just passing it off because I would go to him and saying that Kiefer was bullying me, and he would just say, well, just ignore him then. I would get so mad, but 25 years ago, nobody knew the extent, the damage. They saw that he was picking on me, but he saw that they were picking on me, but 25 years ago, you know, with a completely different era than it is now. Now I find there's more resources, you know, even though in the States schools don't seem to still do much to support bullying. You know, there's still resources that you can go to. There are probably like school counselors and like guidance counselors in school and that you can go to if you're being bullied, and then they can help you out with that. They can try to teach you and give you advice on how to handle it. You know. Or if you're like being bullied or something, try telling the principal or an adult, you know? Because I find that a lot of these teenagers, even now, are committing suicide or not. Committing suicide in that. But they don't seem to be the ones that are trying to help themselves. I mean, like, there were people in my second high school that tried to get me mad. They tried to get me, there was this one kid in my class who asked me dumb questions, and then he wouldn't stop when I asked him to, so I went to the school vice principal. There was two of them, and I went to the one who I knew would help me the most. And after a week, not even that, like maybe 4 or 5 days, it started to slow down. He didn't ask me those questions as much anymore, and when he did, he knew that he would get, I would tell. So it didn't become near as bad. So, other than that, if I didn't tell somebody, I can't just go to school board and complain about it because, they don't work in the schools, they don't see what's going on, you know? But sometimes, I guess when you report bullying, if the bullying is physical and to the extent, then you should at least try to report it. And and I guess some people do, but in the States it's a lot different than here in Canada. And but in the States they are trying to support bullying as well, because they often have a hotline if you're suicidal or if you have been bullied or something. There are certain people that you can go to. And there's also groups on Facebook as well, like bullying support groups and that you can go to, like if you have been bullied and that. And then groups on Facebook. And yeah, you can get advice from people there, on Facebook and that, So yeah, there's lots of things you can do besides committing suicide or going to buy a gun and planning it out first and about how you're gonna do it, and say you're gonna go on the school roof and shoot everybody in the schoolyard or something like that. Like, that's not gonna solve anything. Like, those two things aren't gonna solve anything. It's not gonna get rid of the bullying. And it's only gonna make you look like the bully, not the other person. Right? So, right? And, it doesn't make sense to like kill a bunch of people in the school anyway, because yeah, sure, you might have got picked on by lots of those people, but majority of them weren't the ones that picked on you in the first place. So yeah, you're gonna blow up So, yeah. Feel so bad about the people in Columbine, the people that... But I'm glad that they found ways to move forward. And, some of them have children and of their own, and they have jobs, but it's probably not the job that they dreamed of having. They probably did it because they wanted to help people. Like, a lot of people now, a lot of them people that are survivors of the Columbine or the Parkland shooting and that, probably wanted to become a hairdresser. They probably had different jobs that they wanted to do. But because of what happened to them, they probably feel like they want to help people now and, not do what they originally wanted to do, Like, there's people now that have jobs now that they probably didn't before the Columbine or Parkland school shooting and that, They probably never imagined helping the homeless or working for the Salvation Army. A lot of people do that. A lot of people work at those places because they want to help people. They don't feel like they have to because of experiences, but a lot of them people do that because they want to do it. Right? Well, nobody should feel like their experience made them want to do that. Nobody should, feel like they have to, help the homeless or, speak out and help other victims of school shooting because they feel like they have to. Most of them should do it because they want to do it. And people shouldn't do that because of their experiences, or because they want to change the world because of, like people that surviving a school shooting. People shouldn't have to like work at the Salvation Army because they want to help people or give to people who don't have much, or just because they are struggling or they might have lost what's important to them, People should do it because it's the way they're taught. It is the way that they're brought up, People should just naturally think in their mind, well, okay, I haven't experienced that before. I grew up and I have a nice bed to sleep in. I have a nice mom and dad, and I have a nice friends. My school is very safe, and I'm not scared to go to class. Like, so I want to give somebody else that opportunity. I want to give somebody else I want to help the community and hopefully give to people, because I had lots of things growing up. I had lots of opportunities growing up. right? It should never be because I have lost something important or something happened to me that was traumatizing, you know? And it's a sad reality, but it happens, you know? I don't think people should feel like they need to help the community because of a traumatic experience. I think people, should just be kind to one another and and then not put people through that and then they can focus on the dreams and the goals that they want to do. Right? Like own their own business or like open a restaurant, Some of them people might have wanted to go into businessing in college, but after that happened, it's like, you know what? I feel like I have to help my community, so I'm gonna help people in that community. I'm not gonna, focus on running my own business or and that is sad, as much as it's a good thing. As much as it's a good thing, it is sad because it's like dreams and goals, they change when you have a traumatic experience, I guess. It just doesn't change naturally. People shouldn't have their dreams and goals change because of a traumatic experience. A lot of people should just be like, you know what? Maybe going into businessing isn't right for me. I might go into engineering or go into welding or something. People should just, there's lots of opportunities out there. They shouldn't have to, scratch their heads and be like, you know what? I'll work at the food bank or I'll work at the Salvation Army because I want to change how we think. I want to spread kindness because lots of the people are coming from very traumatic experiences and I know what it's like, so I want to spread that kindness too. No. People shouldn't say that they want to help their community because they have something that they lost. I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's what the way I see it. People should change your mind at will or just go with what they want to do, because I'm pretty sure a lot of them people at Parkland not Parkland, Parkland shooting and that, or whatever it's called, would think the same way too. A lot of them people probably dreamed about being an actress or dreamed about going into businessing and now those dreams are gonna be shattered because they're gonna feel like they need to help other people in the community in order to prevent something like that happening. It shouldn't be that way, you know? It should be the people that, that have common sense, people that are being bullied or, like that are going through a mental health crisis. They should be the one to say no. No matter how obsessed I am, and no matter how pissed off people make me, I am not gonna go and kill a bunch of people, It should be their choice, It's their choice that they chose to do that. And it shouldn't be up to another person to change all that. People should have just that common sense, not to do things like that. And,